Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 38 of SuperSports, the review series for Gran Turismo's selection, as the name suggests, for super sports cars, vehicles which are beyond sports cars and not necessarily supercars. Now in this particular episode, this is a more controversial pick. We've already featured another version of this car in the series. The car that we've already featured was arguably the even more controversial version, the Nismo version, and it's the Nissan GT-R. But this particular model, as you'll have seen from the title, is the Black Edition. Now there are people who would say, and understandably so, that they believe the Nissan GT-R to be a full-on supercar, not a super sports car. And I can understand why you'd say that, but I don't agree. So, I'm featuring it in the SuperSports series. So, feel free to disagree with that, but it's not really going to make any difference. The Black Edition is, as far as I'm concerned, the best version of the GT-R featured on the game. The best road version, anyway. There are a number of models. You've got the Concept, you've got the Prototype, you've got the 2007 shape, the Black Edition, the Spec V, and the Nismo. So, a pretty strong selection just for the R35 generation. Why then would I say that this particular model is the best overall? Well, for some very simple reasons. To me, the Black Edition is the best GT-R for its all-round package, because the whole point of the Nissan GT-R is just that, to be good at everything. This car does that better than all of the other GT-Rs, as far as I'm concerned. It's faster than the 2007 model, it's also faster than the Spec V, it has better handling than the Nismo, and it's also cheaper than both the Spec V and the Nismo. So it has a good mix of speed, handling, but also good value. The Nismo is a lot more expensive than this car. Now this isn't the cheapest of the GT-Rs, the cheapest version is the 2007 model, which is roughly 77 grand if I remember correctly. This car is just under 95 grand. But for a super sports car, that is still an excellent price. Many of the other cars in this series from companies such as Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Aston Martin, Mercedes, etc. can even cost 200,000 or 300,000 credits. So this is a significantly cheaper car, being not even 100 grand. So what do you get for the price? Well, you get a 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6, all-wheel drive, and a maximum power of 1,121 horsepower. It also puts out 812 foot-pounds of torque, and, being a GT-R, is relatively heavy, 1,386 kilos. So of the super sports models in the series, it is one of the heavier ones. It's still not as heavy as, say, an Aston or a Mercedes, though, or at least roughly the same kind of weight. So it's not ridiculously heavy, it's just not as light as some others. It puts out 809 horsepower per tonne, which is good, and the PP is very high. In fact, the Black Edition actually has the highest PP of any GT-R in the game. Higher than all of the racing versions, and higher than all of the other road cars. Even the Nismo. The Nismo sits at just under 700 pp. With a flat floor, the Black Edition can go over 700 pp. The 2007 model can't, the Spec V can't, and even the Nismo cannot. This is the only GT-R to be over 700 pp, and that is very notable. Now in the past I've done a tune for this car that is at the 700 pp level, called the GT-R1, and I know many of you guys really like that tune, and I've raced with some of you who like to use it a lot, and that car can actually take on LMPs on certain tracks, so the potential that this car has is undeniable. It is an incredibly rapid car. For 95 grand, again, it is pretty difficult value to beat. The cruising speed on this car can be made to be 300 miles per hour, which is not that far at all off the pace of the Nismo, considering how much better handling this car has around the track. It means that the Nismo is actually not that amazing when you actually put it up against the Black Edition. The Nismo is fast in a straight line, but it's also sluggish off the line with longer gearing, And the handling is surprisingly not that great when it's fully upgraded. Around the corners of an average track, it's surprisingly heavy, surprisingly stiff, and surprisingly unforgiving, whereas this car is easy to drive, especially with the flat floor that takes the PP even higher. It's a fantastic track car. Now, this model isn't the lightest of GTRs. The 2007 and Spec V are both lighter, but still overall I would definitely say, without a doubt, that the Black Edition is the best R35 GTR in the game by far. The top speed is almost as good as the Nismo, the acceleration is pretty much better than all of the other GTRs off the line, the handling is not necessarily quite as good as the Spec V or the 2007, but definitely better than the Nismo, and the price is better than everything but the original 2007 shape. So overall, it's a package which is incredibly difficult to beat, and even without the flat floor, it still sits at 674 pp. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the GTR, I respect it, but even though I'm not a huge fan of it, I do like the Black Edition. It's a good car, and to be honest, even though the Nismo is on the game now, the Black Edition is still my go-to model for GTRs. But to be fair, most of the stuff I've said in this review is already known to people. People love the GT-R, it's one of the most popular cars on Gran Turismo, so it pretty much goes without saying that if you need a strong, all-round performance car that can not only take on road cars, but also race cars, the GT-R is an obvious choice, and if you're looking for the best all-round model, I would say, based on the pure spec, the facts, and how quick it is, you're better off going for the Black Edition. But that's it overall for this review. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.